Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Before I even get into the title of what this video is about, I just want to say sorry that I have not uploaded in such a long time. It's one of my New Year's resolutions to film more and to schedule more time in for filming, because before, like last year, I just was filming as and when I could, and it really wasn't working, especially with my university work and like family life and my friends. You know, it wasn't working at all. So I will be filming more. I know I've said that before, but I will. I've made a promise to myself, so I need to do it. So yeah, as the title suggests, today I'll be talking about the Real Techniques sponges that they've released. This is so late, this video. I've owned these sponges when they came out, and I think they've been out for about 4 months now, so I've literally just had these sitting on my drawers, just waiting for me to film this video. So the time has come. So as everyone probably knows, Real Techniques have the little Miracle Complexion Sponge. Mine is well loved, and it's just my favourite sponge for applying foundation and patting in concealer under my eyes. Well, as well as everywhere, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's nothing different about these ones that they've released at all. They are exactly the same. However, instead of a 2-pack or 1-pack, you can now get them in a 4-pack. So I kind of just bought this to show you that you can get more bang for your buck. I think this was £20, but I don't know for sure, so I'll put it down in the description bar below, as well as everything I use in today's video. So yeah, I won't be reviewing these sponges because, like I said, I use this every day. I don't feel a need to review it. So I'm pretty sure I've rambled on for an age, so I will cut to the chase. So yeah, jumping straight in, this is the Bold Metals Collection, a Miracle Diamond Sponge. It's shaped like a diamond and it's all marbly patterned. It's very beautiful. So yeah, I haven't even used these. That is how much like willpower I've managed to keep for all these months. So first impressions when I open it, I don't know if you can actually see that, but the plastic packaging has put dents all into the sponge, which is kind of disappointing because it's kind of not as beautiful anymore, but you know, I'm willing to look past it. So yeah, like I said, it's got a marble pattern on it, and it's this shape because each sort of side has a different purpose. So the top half of the diamond, so this bit here, is to buff and blend for a flawless finish. The smaller sides here, like all around the edge, so that's the top, so there's kind of like a little, you can see that, all these bits here are to work around the eyes, mouth and brow bone. I can kind of see that actually. Yeah, okay. So the larger flat sides, which are all like the triangles around the edge, function as a wedge to apply makeup to large areas. That's what it says on the back. And the pointed tip is to cover small imperfections. So I can imagine that to be good around the nose or just like in the little corner of the eye, something like that. The only downside I've got to say about this tip here is it's very bendy. But yeah, I don't know if you can see, like it's very sort of fragile, and I just feel like it's going to break off. So as the instructions on the back have said, it says use wet for dewy application and dry for full coverage powders. Replace every 1 to 3 months. So the next sponges that they've released are from their core collection, and these are 2 Miracle Mini Eye Eraser Sponges, which are this beautiful purple colour that Real Techniques seems to use for their eye brushes as well. So straight off the bat, I'm going to say that it looks like a tiny little version of the orange one. I'm going to show you this side, it's less like gross. It's like a tiny version of the big one, apart from it's got like a little cut here. I don't know if you can see that at all, you can just about see the flat surface there. And these are supposed to basically pick up fallout from around your eyes or blend in concealer. I think the Beauty Blender has like a tiny version of like this as well, so I don't know if you could call this a dupe. Again, it says you can use it damp to blend harsh lines or dry to pick up makeup. So it is actually quite good that they give you 2, because then you can do both. So that's quite good because you keep one wet and one dry. Lastly, the final sponge is the Miracle Sculpting Sponge. Again, this is from their core collection sponges, and it is this beautiful bright pink. So basically this sponge is to sculpt and highlight the face. I believe that this big chunky end is to sculpt and this smaller end is to highlight. It says that the large flat surface here is to contour, and I presume this is only good for cream products, but we can have a play around and have a look. And the rounded edge here is to blend, so I can imagine you apply and then blend out with the more bouncier side. And it's the same with the other end for the highlighter. We use the tiny little side to press that highlight on, and then the bouncier side to blend it out to make sure it doesn't look like a Neapolitan on your cheek. It says it's ideal for powders, creams and liquids, which is actually quite cool because I only thought it would do more liquids and creams. But today I'm going to be using mostly cream products, so I will be wetting it, though it does say that you can use it damp or dry. So I will be wetting this sponge. So yeah, I'm going to take all of my makeup off that I've got now, unfortunately for you, and we're going to use these in action and see how well they work. So as you can tell, I have taken all my makeup off, and clearly I need more sleep because my eyes are like bright red, which is not good. I have used the Nivea Post Shave Balm as a primer all over my face, and I have just done my brows. And speaking of the sponges, they have increased in size considerably. Like, this is, I'd say double the size actually, and all of those indentations earlier, you can just about see them just there. I don't know if you can just see that, but they've all pretty much gone, to be honest, and that just went with the swelling of the sponge. This alike has swollen like a toe in hiking shoes. It's huge. This end didn't swell as much as this end, but I don't know, again, this sponge freaks me out. It's like an alien. Like I said, I'd do a comparison of the sponges, and as you can see, the purple sponge has just grown considerably. It's doubled in size, so that's quite interesting to see how much all the sponges do swell by. So as I've already put on my primer, I'm going straight into foundation, and I'm using the Bourjois Air Mat 24-hour hold foundation. Okay, so straight off the bat, I'm going to say I do not like this sponge at all. I think it's just far too big. I mean, at first I was enjoying like putting it on my cheek area, this big flat surface bit, but I just think to pick up the product, I was just like going over the ridges, and I couldn't specifically grab one triangle to go under that under eye. And again with this, I couldn't get the angle right to go above and around my brows. So I think the idea is there, but it's just too big. It soaks up a ton of product. This foundation is a medium to full coverage foundation, and normally one little blob like you saw me do in the beginning would cover my whole face no problem, and sometimes be some left over to drag down my neck, which you can see I haven't got because I've now got 2 different skin tones right now. But I don't think it's worth the money. I think it's an expensive sponge for something that actually doesn't do a better job than this. I prefer this. I just find that this neatly presses into my skin underneath the eyes, and if I want to get between the eyebrows, I can squeeze this together to make it like an elongated shape, where although you can squeeze this, you can't really, it's just too big to squeeze. You can't really, like, it's not very malleable to put around your face. For me, this is a massive fail. I think it's very pretty, but that's only when it's not been used, because it's now filthy after one application. So this is not going to be bought again from me, I'm afraid. So yeah, I'm going to be using the little purple sponge, which is the Miracle Complexion Under Eye Concealer Eraser thing. And I'm going to be using this today for my under eye concealer and my eye primer. So I'm going to be using the big rounded edge for my under eye and the smaller rounded edge for my eye primer. I'm going in with the Collection 2000 in the shade Fair concealer. It's much loved. I've got this like little Urban Decay sample booklet for all of their eye primers, so I'm just going to be using their original eye primer on my eyes. So I'm going to say this has actually applied my concealer really well and really seamlessly into the skin. It's not made it look cakey whatsoever. And it didn't actually swallow so much product up like the Bold Metals Diamond Sponge. As you can see, obviously it's got residue on it, but I actually really like this for under the eyes. It's a tiny little bit difficult to hold, but actually it made it easier to squeeze in under the eye, where sometimes you wouldn't get with the bigger sponges because they're just a little bit too big for under the eye area. So yeah, for around the nose, little hard to reach places, I think this is really great. Again, really impressed with how this has applied the eye primer. It's just seamless, and actually it's patted in enough but taken off enough to not be too cakey but not be too thin at the same time. So actually, for patting in concealer and eye primer, I'm really enjoying this sponge. I'm just going to go in with the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder in the shade Sandstorm and just a Real Techniques contour brush, and that's just to set underneath my eyes, just because obviously I haven't got a dry sponge to set that, but I'm just going to do that. So the next sponge I'm going to be using is the Pink Alien Sponge. That's what we're going to call it now. I've got two different products because I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how different textures work with this sponge. And I've got the Bourjois Bronzing Primer Soleil. Okay, so initial application, it's not easy at all. And I've also got a Colourpop bronzer, which would be interesting to use. This bronzer is in the shade Paradise Cove, and it's just got that sheen. You can see it, it's just absolutely beautiful. It might not be showing up on my camera as well as in the mirror, but it's taking its time to apply, so I don't know if I'd be using this for my Colourpop products just because it's just taking too long. So yeah, this side of it I'm not entirely sure on. I think it maybe require more practice. Maybe I've dampened it too much or not enough. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure about this end. I'm going to give this another go with some blushes, and I've got a blush stick here and another Colourpop product. This is in the shade Between the Sheets and this is in the shade Nectar. So they're both kind of similar blushes, and I'm just going to try and use this on the top half and use this in the bottom half and just see, as far as blush, how they apply. As far as the blush is concerned, I think a stick is a much better way. You know, applying it straight to skin and blending out is a far better way of getting this to work. Though it's just, I don't think my blush is very even at the moment. It's just quite hard to get that precise and accuracy that you would get from a brush. So it's good, however I probably wouldn't be repurchasing it for this end anytime soon, and I wouldn't be replacing it once it's kind of had its day. Again, I've got two different products. They're both cream. I know we've used the Colourpop products for the bronzer and the blush and it didn't work very well, but I still will want to use this for the highlighter because I've heard that some sponges are really good for the Colourpop highlighters. So I will use that just to see what it's like, and this is in the shade Lunch Money. And I've also got the sleek Precious Metals palette, which is all, apart from one I think, they're all powders, and it's just really pretty. It looks like this. So I'll be kind of like picking the same tone, so I think we're going to go for like this one here, the bottom corner. I'm just going to say that I'm actually really impressed with how this has worked with the Colourpop highlighters. It's just really made it a soft finish, and I think that's really, really pretty. Okay, so this sponge I think is really great for applying highlight. I just think it looks really like beaming and beautiful. I'm really impressed with this end. And maybe it'll just take more practice with this end. I've not lost hope. I like it much, much more than the diamond sponge still. I think it just requires, again, like I said, a bit more practice. However, I didn't like how it's picked up. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of picked up the product from my nose and all foundation. You can just about see. And it's, instead of playing highlight, it's just kind of mashed it all around, so I'm not liking that at all. But you know, you win some and you lose some. So now I'm finally going to go into the dry purple sponge, which is the little eye one, but this is going to be for fallout and whisking away sort of all the fallout from all my eyeshadow. So I'm going to use the Tarte Lip palette, and this is just like basically a palette full of mattes. It's completely gorgeous. The real fallout culprit will be the Barry M Dazzle Dust that I've got here in the shade, doesn't have a shade, it just says 44, but it's kind of like the bronziest golden shade, and when I do use this it falls out underneath my eyes all the time. Okay, so all of my eyeshadow is now applied, and you can probably see why I've chosen the Dazzle Dust, because it does fall out. It's a nightmare, but it's beautiful and I just need it, and it's worth the pain. But yeah, I don't know what's happened here. I think I used too much on the brush, but it's fallen out all here and all under here. So I'm going to just simply press. So my final impression of this is I don't actually know if it's whisking anything away or picking anything up as such. I mean, you can see here that it has picked up some product and it is glittery, so it is definitely the shadow, but I don't know if that's just the foundation that it's grabbing. I'm not too convinced. The tip, again, a lot of glitter. I don't think I'm convinced that it's actually picked anything up. I think it's just blended it into the skin whilst absorbing some of that glitter to make it look seamless, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I'd rather just whisk it away with a duo fibre brush and just do that. So yeah, I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup, so my lips and mascara, and then get to the final review bit. Okay, so I've applied my mascara and my lips. I've used the L'Oreal Paris Telescopic and the MDM Flow lipstick in Bossy and the Rimmel London Exaggerate lip pencil in Epic, I think this is, yeah, Epic. But like I said at the beginning, everything will be listed down below. So, review time for said sponges. I don't think they're anything special, and that's the honest truth. I think this is kind of all you need. Although these were amazing for under eye concealer and, you know, all that stuff around the eye for cream products, I just think, do you need to fork out money for these when you can just squeeze this and push it in underneath? I don't think you do. Now, this sponge has kind of got me because I don't know if I like it or not. It's a good idea. Again, I like the way it's applied the highlight. I think that's really, really beautiful. So overall, I've been pretty negative about all these sponges, which is just great. If I was to buy any of these sponges, it would definitely be the little purple ones, but I think that's genuinely because they're just a smaller version of the one I really love. They're a good idea. They're a good idea, but I just don't know if I'd ever repurchase these again once they've kind of had their day. Overall, Real Techniques do some great sponges. These just prove that they do great sponges. I just don't think the shape worked well for me. That's not to say it won't work well for you. By all means, go out and buy them if you want to try them. You do that. But for me, they just didn't work as well as I'd hoped. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! And it is my New Year's resolution. What? And I'll put... shut up. Per se, because it wouldn't be a video of mine, would it, if I just didn't drop something all the time. Oh my god, come on. This is the weirdest looking sponge I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, doesn't it just look like an alien? It's designed to help create shadow or highlight using your favourite facial features. It says on the back that the large tip here, so this bit, is just called the large tip. And it's, oh come on, focus. It's the dry, I need to say green, it's not green. Look how cute this sweater is. It just says, "You can't sit with us." It's just got loads of little hedgehogs on. It's just so cute.